Good day, students. I hope all of you are fine. Today we are going to look at letterheads for computer practice in 6. Now, the letterhead I'm going to deal with is a letterhead I already looked at. I never finished it due to problems with my computer, but I'm going to start from the beginning. Also because the previous one didn't have that good sound. So let's try and do it again. So we're going to look at the one, question paper, June 2017. And it's section B, word processing. Now remember, section A is for theory, B is word processing, and C is your Excel. Now, it states very clearly that candidates must answer either section B or section C. That means you can't do both of them. You have to do one of the two. If you attempt both of the sections, B and C, you will not gain marks for both of them. Only one section will be marked. Now let's look at our instructions for section B. This means all of your section B questions of Microsoft Word, you have to apply this settings or instructions to. Number 1 tells you to read the instructions for each question. Number 2 tells you use a 10 CPI or 12 PT letter type. For example, Korean New 12 for Word, and Korea 10 for WordPerfect, except when receiving other instructions. That means you will start a document. If you are using Word, you will use Korea New 12. If you are using WordPerfect, you will use Korea 10. But if you are instructed to use another font or font size, then only you will change it to the instructions. Number 3 tells you the following information must appear on each page as a header. So the first instruction over here tells us align your examination number and computer number against the left-hand margin. And then align the question number against the right-hand margin. So they give you an example by using examination number, in brackets computer number, and then nothing in the center, and then question number on your right hand side. Then they tell you use the date function to insert all dates. That's when they ask you to put in a date, maybe in your letter or however. Number 5, put all printouts in the correct order in your examination folder. Only one printout per question is allowed. That means don't go put in 4 different question 5s for letterhead. The lecturer or the marker will only mark the one on top, because you cannot expect from the lecturer or the marker to go mark all 4 and then choose the best option. That's not how it works. You have to hand in the one that you think is correct. Let's say, for example, you print and you receive your printout. You see that this is not the correct one. Fold it in half, put it separate, and then fix your mistakes, print it again. And if you see this one is the correct one, then insert your correct one in your examination folder as the question to be marked. Now let's look at question 5. Question 5 tells us to open a new document. Now I am going to go to my start menu and I'm going to select Word. You will see I'm using Microsoft 365. Then we can say blank document. Now you will also note that my settings is set to Korean New 12 and my line spacing, single line spacing, and I'm using inches. This is how we set the computers for each student so that they can just start typing their document and not waste time. Then next instruction tells you use Arial 12 PT or 10 CPI unless instructed otherwise. So let's go back to Word and we change our font to Arial and it's size 12. Next instruction tells us that the margins must be 0.5 inches or 1.27 centimeters. That means that if you are using inches, this is what you will use, 0.5 inches. If you are using centimeters, you will say 1.27. Now, they tell you margins. Margins, they don't indicate left and right margin, top and bottom margin. They just say the word margins. Now that means it's all four margins because they didn't specify only one or two margins. They said the margins must be 0.5. That means we will go to our layout. And the easiest option or the fastest option as well. So when you go to margins and you select narrow, you see then all four will be 0.5. Select 0.5 and you can see it's now changed. Next instruction tells us insert your examination number, computer number, and the question number as indicated in the instructions. That means when we looked at the instructions here on top, it told us that we had to put our examination number, in brackets our computer number, and then on the right hand side the question number. Let's do that. Just going to move it. Then we go to Word. You can now choose to say insert, header. I must tell you I don't like blank or blank 3 columns because a lot of times students forget to remove this word type here. They will, for example, type examination and station number and question number, and then this word type here will still be there. So I normally recommend students using edit header, or my favorite one is double clicking in your header. Now firstly, do you see my two fonts? They look different from one another. That's why I like using my show hide icon, because then I can see what's going on in my document. Without it, I can't see what's going on. I have to look at other things like, now I see, oh, the font is different. But it's easier with one glance just to see there's something that's not right. Now remember they said the font for the document must be Arial 12 PT or 10 CPI. So it means even your headers and footers must change. We're going to change it then to Arial. It stays on 12. You type in your ID number. I'm using any number. And you have your station number. Now my station number is 31 in the classroom, so I'm sticking to station 31. Nothing in the center, and then in capital letters you've got question 5. It must be capital letters. Now students, please don't put an enter sign. If you put an enter sign, then you can see it looks as though my margin is a 1-inch top margin. That's not correct. They said it must be 0.5 all margins. So remove the enter sign. Don't put the enter sign there. To close your header, you can just say header and footer, close the header and footer, or you can double click to close it. Let's check our next instruction. It tells you number 5, insert a horizontal line from the left to the right hand margin at the top of the page. Now this one, please do not put the 3 hyphens or dashes, however you call it, and press enter, because do you see now this looks like a 1-inch margin. This is incorrect. Let me undo it. Even when you say shift and you draw, this is also, it looks like a 1-inch margin. Don't do that. So one method you can use, I'm just going to switch on my show hide icon, is I want a line directly on top of my enter sign. So method you can use, you go to your borders, select your borders option like in Excel. You don't want a border below your enter sign. You want it on top of your enter sign. So I click top border. See if I just point to it, it shows me how it will look. So I can see this is the one I want, top border. Click on it. Now you can see this is a 0.5-inch top margin. Then it tells us leave 2 line spaces and insert the following text, center, bold, and in capital letters. Use the font Lucida Handwriting 26PT, and the text is A.A. Turing Company. Go to Microsoft Word. So leave 2 line spaces. Do you see there's already 1 line space? 2 line spaces. So enter 1, 2 times. Now, I just want to show you, let's say I'm typing in my text now, and then I'm changing it, or let's say you first change your text. Doesn't matter. Now I change it to Lucida handwriting. I say size 16 or whatever. I type. When I press enter, do you see that it takes the setting over to my next enter? Now I have to change back to Arial. I have to take away bold. You see, I have to do things 2 times now. So what I always recommend to my students is I tell them, first go and type in your heading, which is A.A. Turing. My nails is a bit long. This is one of the bad things of COVID, is you can't always go in as you normally did. So the typing is a bit more difficult. Sorry about that. So A.A. Turing Company. Then I put my enters. You can enter once or twice because you can always remove an enter. Then I highlight and I change Lucida handwriting. You can type in the word Lucida, but just make sure that there's a lot of different Lucidas. Make sure you choose the correct one. Handwriting, size 26, if I'm not mistaken, yes, and it says bold. So I'm going to use you can use the bold here, or you can press Control B for bold, and it tells you capital letters. Ours is in capital letters. And then it tells us it must be in the center. So Control E for center. Okay, and when I click on my enter sign, do you see then it's still on Arial and 12. I don't need to go and change it now. Let's look at our next question. It tells us, let's go down. It tells you leave 2 line spaces open after the text and create 3 columns as follows. Column 1, 4 centimeters or 1.57 inch. Column 2, 7 centimeters or 2.75 inches. Column 3, 5.46 centimeters or 2.15 inches. And then also it tells you display the vertical lines between the columns. So let's go and look at that. Go to Word. And then they said leave 2 line spaces. So do you see it says 1, 2. Now again, it would have been difficult without this one. You wouldn't be able really to see. So students, do yourself a favor and keep the show hide icon on. Remember this icons, this, it will not print. It's just there to guide you. When you say file print, you see it's not there. It's just there to guide you. So we entered 2 times and it told us that we have to insert 3 columns. Now, if I go to layout and I say columns and I'm somewhere going to use the 3, do you see then it puts my heading inside of column 1 as well. You don't want that, okay? Let me just undo it. Don't go restart the work. Just say undo. Do you see A.A. Turing is in 1 column? This is 1 column, okay? Now, whenever you want to ensure that the work will not change, like on top, I don't want this work to change into columns, or if I want the work below to change to 2 or 3 columns, then remember you want to protect your work. That means you have to go to breaks and you must insert a continuous break. Continuous is because I don't want it to go to a next page by putting in a page break or next page break. I don't want it to go to a column. I want the text to just continue. Do you see? I just want my work to continue on the same document. Now, whenever we work with borders, it can happen that it inserts extra borders. Now, students, the same way you put in a border is the same way you remove a border. So I go back to home. We always go home. Then one option is saying no border. Do you see when I highlight no border, then it goes away? Or you can say borders and shading. And then you can just click on this top border. You want to remove it and say okay. And then it's gone. Now, because of this continuous break, I can now go and put in columns because now the text on top of this continuous break, it will not change. So I go to layout, I go to columns. Now this time I'm not going to say 3 because then I can't use the settings of changing my column width, or I cannot put in a vertical line as instructed. So I have to say more columns. Then you can either select 3 over here or you can say 3 over here. Then you can decide to first change and then say line between, or first say line between and then change, doesn't matter. Now, I want to change my column width. The first column must be, I'm using inches, so I'm looking at inches. It must be 1.57. The next one, 2.75, and the third one, 2.15. Now, I always try and encourage my students to read the screen. Do you see this one? It says equal column width. Do I want equal column width? No, I want all three to be different. So I have to take out, remove the tick. Now I can go and change. Now don't go click, 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 click up and down. All you do is just go highlight and change what you need to. Now mine must be 1.57. My setting is using commas, so I'm not going to say 1 full stop. I'm going to say 1.57 for my first column. My next column must be 2.75, so 2.75, and my last one must be 2.15, 2.15, and then the spacing will change by itself. You just leave it as it is. So we've got 1.57, 2.75, and 2.15, and then I'm going to say line between, and I say okay. Hey, there it changes it. Then we're going to start typing. Let's go look at my settings. It tells me column 1, retrieve the picture saved as logo. Now, when we retrieve the picture saved as logo, you can go to your documents, whichever method you feel comfortable. I already opened mine, but let me just close this window so I can show you. Mine, you can go to Start, or however I like to say Windows E. Then this takes me to my File Explorer. And then I will go to Document, and mine is saved underneath my original classwork 4 in 6. And this question paper is for the 2nd of June 2017. So I'm opening this one. You see there's logo, the one I have to retrieve. Now, a lot of students, what they will do is they will just right click on it, and then they will say that you have to go copy it. So let me say copy. And then they will paste it over here. Now look what happens. Do you think this is correct? No, this is not correct. Okay, let's undo. So what you do is you go to your documents. Then you have to open this Word document, logo, open it. Then you will see this picture. All I do then is I'm going to right click on it, and I'm going to say copy. Now I'm not going to close yet because I first want to make sure that I copied it correct. So then I just point here, like in your cell phone where you minimize and you can select between apps, same method. Then you can right click, say paste. You can go to home and you can say paste, or you can just say Control V to paste it. So now I see, yes, it's over here. So I'm going to close this one because I don't like a lot of open documents, especially when you're writing exams. Now, firstly, while I remember, I just want to tell you, remember when you do columns, remember to put in an extra enter sign at the end of your whatever you've been doing. You see, this enter is part of the picture. So if you go and insert a continuous break over here and you go type here and you change alignment, it will also influence this alignment of the picture, because the two is taking over the same setting. They are like now still part of one another. So make sure you put in an extra enter sign. Okay. Now what you can do is, let's click on our picture and we read what we have to do with our picture. It tells us, insert the picture, we've done that. Change the size of the picture to, if you use centimeters, it's 5 centimeters. Inches is 1.97 inches in height. Always check that you see, is it height or width, because sometimes they put the width first and then the height. So always go check the height, and the width must be either 3.81 centimeters or 1.5 inches. And then it tells you to insert a double line frame around the picture. So what I'm going to do is I'm going back to my Word document. Now, when you click on your picture, you see then a picture format tab will open, or ribbon, how you want to call it. You see if I click here, it's not available. It ends with help. When I click on my picture, you see picture format is now available. I click on it. Now, we can change it here. But what happens is a lot of times the picture will be locked. That means if I change it here, it will automatically change there. And that's not always what you want. So go here to where it says size, go click on your dialog box and go make sure that this 2 ticks is out. Normally the ticks can be in like this. And then when you change something here, it will automatically change there. If I change here, it automatically change there, you see. But if I take out these ticks, then I can go change without the 2 changing by itself. So the I'm using inches, so mine will be 1.97. So I'm just going to delete the numbers because clicking up or down arrow, it will not change to the correct number. Okay, so 1.97 in height. And then the width, you see here's the width. The width must be 1.5 inches. So I'm going to change to 1.5. Then I'm going to say OK. And then it changes the size. Then it told us to put in a double border. There's 2 methods you can use. One method is by clicking on the picture. You can go to Home. Remember your borders? I click on it and I select Borders and Shading. And then just go choose your double border, click on it and say OK. You see, then it puts a double border for you. It just doesn't show the line, but if you increase the size, you will see the extra line comes in. There you see, it will be there when you print it. Another method you can do it, let me just undo, is you select your picture. Remember the picture format, you want to do something to the picture, so you go to picture format. Then remember to read your screen. I want to put in a picture border, so I say border. The weight is where you see when I highlighted it changed how thick it is. Do you see? This only you will do if instructed. Now we go to the dashes. Now we don't want dashes, so we go to more lines. And then here in line, I'm going to say solid line. Then it opens up some options. And I go here to compound type. And over here, I can choose double. Don't use this one. This is a thick and a thin and a thin and a thick and so on. So I can say double. Now, you don't see it at this moment, but it is double. If you make it very big, you will see there it is a double one. Okay, so whichever method you prefer, you can go put in your border. Now, to make it easier for you to see, I'm just going to undo it to put it in a double border that you can see easily. So I'm going to say, just see here. Okay, click on it. And I'm going to say borders and shading. I'm going to choose double. click on it, say OK, and then you will be able to see its double frame or double border. Okay, so we've got our enter sign. Now I want to go from column 1 to column 2. So what I do is I'm going to go to my layout. I say break. So I want to break column 1 to go to column 2. So I say column. Okay, easy. Then let's look what we have to do to column 2. So column 2 tells us retrieve key in the following text in uppercase and do all manipulation as indicated below. So they tell us to key in the text in uppercase. So it means all of this. Okay, and then we have to apply as we see. So I'm going to go to Microsoft Word. Okay, and directly on top, I'm going to type in capital letters. We type in holidays with, oh, sorry about that, with a difference. Okay, and I'm going to enter 4 times. Now remember, the amount of times that I see 1, 2, 3, 4. It means you press enter 1, 2, 3, 4 times and you start typing. So I'm going to press enter 1, 2, 3, 4 times and I start typing. And I'm going to type in bring your enter once dreams the snails to us and then I'm just going to put an enter or 2 because I want to change the font and alignment, so I want to make sure it doesn't influence my next text for the next column. So I highlight only the information I typed and then I want to align it right and I want to change my font to Lucidia size 16. So I say size 16. You see now this font is still on Arial 12. And remember that enter signs because if I put in a break over here, it will change my alignment, will influence each other here. Okay, so I enter twice or once, doesn't matter. I go, I say breaks, and I say column to break from column 1 to column 2. Now it tells us to do the next column. It tells us, just see if it still is. So it tells us use Arial 10 PT and key in the following text and align as indicated. And then it gives you all the instructions. So here, uppercase, bold, and center only for this one. Okay, only for this one because the bracket only indicates for this. And then your alignment only for here, align left, and then this instruction only for this information. So let's go to Word and we do this instruction. This one I think was in the center. Let me just put it in the center. Then let's do this one. It tells us uppercase, bold, and center. So in uppercase, I type in the word contact us and double point. Now my font size must change to 10. So I'm going to change all of this to 10 now. And then I'll just remember to change it back to size 12 when we're done. Okay, so I'm going to enter 2 times. Contact us must change to uppercase, it's uppercase. It must change to bold and to center. Then we have to type in 100 Main Street. Press enter, and then we've got our town in capital letters, and we've got the code 7646. Enter 2 times. Then PO box, capital PO space box, PO box 12345, and I enter once. Then the town, again capital letters, enter once. 7620. Doesn't matter if it's the same town. The question paper shows that it's two different codes. Okay, so you type exactly what you see. And then we enter 2 times. Now let's see, align left. Okay, this one stays on align left. Then, and let me just see, you can see this one is still, it changed to, it's not on 10. Let me just change all of them to size 10. Okay. Then, it tells us, insert symbols as indicated, align right. Insert symbols as indicated, align right. You will see there the phone and the mouse. Now they didn't tell you where to look for it. So we go to insert, we go to symbol because it's a symbol. Now what we normally go to more symbols. What we normally do is, where is it? We go to wingdings or webdings, okay? So wingdings or webdings is normally the place to look for. Mine is at the correct place. I used it previously for something, so it is at the correct place. Yours will normally be maybe on career new. So all you do is you will start with, let's say you said webdings. Do you see there? And you see, no, it's not this one. Then go look for wingdings. There's a wingdings 1 and a wingdings 2. So here I see it. I click on it. I say insert. I say close. Put a space. And then it is 0 to 1. And it says 872 space 0001. Enter once. Then I want that little mouse. I say symbols. I say more symbols. And it will be at the last one. So I see this little mousey. I click on the mouse. Don't just choose any one. Insert, close it, put a space, and then it is AA. Oh, it must be lowercase. Please, people, when you type in an email address or a don't go put in spaces. gmail.com. Oh, .com. Oh, what did I do? Okay, so at Gmail was supposed to be a full stop, not a forward slash. Okay, let's continue with the information, what we have to do with the text. So it tells us that we have to align the information to the right. So let's highlight. Oh, and we still need, let me just see, we still need the www. So let me just type www. Remember, we don't put any spaces. Turing.com. Okay, I'm going to put an enter sign because I want to continue with one column. Let me just try again. And then we have to align right. Now we are done with our columns, but let's just first go back to the question paper. It tells us change to one column. So let's change to one column. Now we can't just say one column. We first have to end off your columns the same way we started our columns. Do you see we started our columns with a continuous break? So we have to end our columns with a continuous break. So we go to layout, we go to breaks, we say not column because we don't want to go to a next column. Remember, we ended the same way we started. So we say continuous. Now you see my cursor jumps back to my left hand, to my first column. But do you see I'm still inside columns? Do you see? There's still 3 columns indicated. So all we do now is we say columns and we say 1. Now it's back to 1 column. And then let's check further information. It tells us leave 2 line spaces and insert a double line with half PT from the left to the right hand margin. So what we do is we enter 2 times, 1, 2 times. Let's just confirm. Okay, so it said leave 2 line spaces and insert a double line with a half PT. Okay, so let's do that. So now what we do is a few methods, but we can go to home and we go to this borders icon. We say borders and shading. And then we say custom because we don't want a block around this enter sign. Remember, this is like borders putting around the paragraph or so. So we say custom and we say double, and it said half a PT. Let's make sure. Yes, with half PT. So we don't change anything. Just say on top of that enter sign and we say OK. And there it puts it on top of it. Okay. Then next instruction, let's see. It says, let me just move it a bit down. Insert a single line from the left to the right hand margin. Leave 2 line spaces and key in the following footer in 10 PT and center. So we can see this horizontal line is inside of your footer. So let's go to our Microsoft Word. Okay. Go open the footer. Now what you can do is you can just double click in the header. And then you can go down to the footer, or you can go to insert footer and edit footer, or however. Now remember, it must be Arial, the font. So it's Arial. Let's check the size. Did they tell us? Yes, it must be 10 and centered. Okay, so change it to 10. We say centered. But remember, they want a single line. No? They want a single horizontal line from the left to the right hand margin. So in order to do that, we go back. Now, if you choose this option and you say top, do you see that it then inserts a double border for you? We don't want a double border, we want a single border. So what we can do is we just go back to borders and shading. Then we just say custom and then we choose a single, we click and we say OK. And now it puts in a single border for you. Then it told us to enter 2 times, leave 2 line spaces. It says insert a single horizontal line from left to right margin, leave 2 line spaces and key in the following footer in 10 PT and center. Your 24-hour travel partner. So all we do is enter 1, 2 times your 24-hour, I think it was typed like this, our travel partner, if I'm not mistaken. Partner. Let's just make sure. I'm going to minimize, I'm going to change it here. Let me just see if I can go here. Your 24-hour travel partner. Yes, I think that's correct. Okay, your 24-hour travel partner. I want to do something now, but it's not working perfectly. Let me try it like this. Your 24-hour travel partner. No, it is fine. Okay, and then it tells us that we have to save. Yeah, there it is, your 24-hour travel partner. Save the file as question 5LH for letterhead. Print the letterhead and place the printout in your examination folder. And all of this is 24 marks. So you must try and complete this letterhead in about 24 minutes at the most to make sure that you will be able to finish your question paper. Now, I hope that this assisted you to make letterheads a bit easier. It's actually not that difficult. You just have to apply the same principles always. Remember, If they tell you to type in a heading, you type the heading, you enter twice. If they tell you to put in columns, then remember to first put in a continuous break, then go change to however many columns, and then you always end off the same way you started it, with a continuous break. Keep well, students. I hope to see you soon.